Akananyo chumila ka wanga walanu talte maptami wa Ollie Ittinuar kolakto kati kapku kovehok tunga wani tadukto aliak webtinni kolakto tok tawani Eskimo appointment ranking in Ladmon nun ne kamik wanilyo Inuit Cultural Institute alangan iha ne kamilum
Kinguning agot suli ubagut katimayitigut ikibaktiyo yung tagbani kao yung mangitiyak tiluta akityo kalilaw ng mingman maan na sa nguyok taam na kumait yung mga ulilaw to inum makalay kanata limamok si mabluni yung natya limamok si mabluni taman na ilitakiyaw si matyak to ni kao makunin asiyok kaya law to maan na sa nguyok taam na aksyonak yung mga ulilaw to aksyon makilaw to maani wala nagmiyotang mikpiliriya kakapta kisiyani maan na limakipalya lang miyok tapos kati may suko singit yun tayo may tuwin naktun kisiyani siya wag tinukak tisuwit nukam makisudi kisiyani taman kinaw iliyak sa kaluangan nga akit yun aksyon tingin na suwalak suwo makitin na suwak suwo tano inang makalayim timiyong nga timiyong man makitin na suwak suwo asiyo ko nago tamak ka upin na nga ni asiyo ya kaya hangin mata piliraya to kalungin ukiyo ning amisyo ning inum makalariyom makwa inuit pikko singin piyo singin makwa bugliok si mayun kamakwa amisyo along mata titiak si mayun titik kay makwa amisyo along mata puktuyo lak tudig lutatas nung nilutam na titiak bi upin na nga ni asiyo ya kaya hangin man timiyo ni nga asiyo kaluakpat tamak ko alok ta asiyo niyak mata taman pidyo tigiblo aksyo kong makilawak tu taman na makitin na siwak tu kau man pitsariak tu bangin mata kinaw yaming tuksarak bigalawak tuwid upalok iman na tagbay na tuni hisuit yung mata aksyo kong makisyo takisyaning tuksarak bigin na sukpak tuwid taman na asiyo ko nago taman wala nang miyo takming piliriya kakapta taman na aksyo kong makisyo ni kinaw yung isyo ni takik siya din ak biniling ni pilih lauk tok pilih kati na siya lauk tabut taman sakit ilang mago aki cupik palya lang mata maan na likungan nak siya kung anak kong nailauk tok iman na katatuin nang niya lang man nalunang niman kung anak lunin kangunak siblo ni tusak natuk kumao na ukaluyak sak ukalukat kaya lauk tok ubang ngayok ka ma kangunak singman taman na ukaw sa kaya reaksya nga ni ukaluk tayo liblo nga kanu kaya piniyak pa makinyak pa loob katatuin nang niyak pa loob katatuin nang niyalak pa sakin niyalak po nga ukalung niyalak po nga inum makalari pitak akong niyak po katak po ayulak po imayli akong niyak po nga ayaw naksimay pan tano dakkay naksu asula kinaya kaya tawaban liyalag man akitulo pani lilak tu ulit unong malak suting taman na huya naksilang man aswila ukalung naksibo nga tama tuminga kuya naksilang man nalunang nimman inum makalay makita niya lang miyo sabak sanay kalak lunilo namak tuning tamak kuning nga sa waki wala ok tamin sa nawala ok tamin pilirin niya lang lunilo maan nali iso makakalawak pugod kangit na kami sugaluin, ukaw sa kayayak taka, kuya namin ni, taman na maan naman, tikidlo, unip ka ako mga kinong makalagay, upik ko singa. Maan nali, isi makakalawak po siyo niksap tinitawan ni. Maan na pilaraya kibalyarak tawod, kaya siya noon napta. Tam na akbiya milaw, man yung makalagay, makakuyak siyo ni kataksimalakman. Katam makikyo ni akityo mo doon nakalalak sa nipikatalaw makuilang man. So katakatalaw ni kataman kaksaw tigi si malak pawud katimayiw yun. Ukualo katimayiw katika. Ukualo sabak tibud. Sabak tituin na kami nalatuin ng mata katimayini. So taman na akbayamik kalawak so ni katak palik pa. Ayong nagtukko katalak pa siyo. Taman na kaksaw tigi bluwo. Una akbaya akituwalang man. Tayo kung ating miyulo akituwalang so tayo kung akbaya mga katakso ni. Ako tigi yaong naman. Una li kanyak sinak. Yalo na ito. Inubik ito. apkotigiyaw naksaungman tamakkununga tikipaktunut nakituinna taamnuna tingmiyo kaksuna amigaitjumin apkotigiyaw naksaugami akilung naksauyokuna una aulaaqvigini alupiu naksauyo taman nalunaqungneengman taunani kopek ilangani katimakduaqtilluta nunani nakituinna kaititibluta katimakduaqiaqtuq titibluta aqaanimaanna upangaangulauqta aqaaningulauqtuq upangaksaa angikutigiliyaaqpangan nuuqublugu kayaqsinangmun inummaqalagii taikani aqbiami taikani ikkaluaqsuni ukiuning amisuning saqqilauqsimangimman ualinang mulluunin qitikmiunulluuni qiiqtaalungmulluunin uqaqpaktumaqaa inummaqalagii suliqiyoq suyuqinna aqbiami taikani inummaqalagii uvaga angayuqqaangulaqsun kiuni ayoqqpakpunga nunagingillugulu taamna maunga aniluangimman inummaqalagii taimana mikiyuqulungming kiinauyamun ikayungmaaqasuksuni taimana pivaktuugaluaq tamana takuksaungiluaqman takunnangimman upinnaqani tamakununallaa taimana aperiwakpun inummaqalagiimna suligiyoq suyuqinna inummaqalagii taamna amisuiqsunga ukiuni amisutusaqsimalaqpaqa maannali taimainniaq nanunangitsoq kiinauya angiyalu qaijjaangimming makavumani tamanna qaijjaangitilluguunni nuusimalaqapta maanna qanittukkuuneqsaq taikunga titaqaviktaasaaloqsillutu kangiqsinangmun maannali katimakduaqtittiniarpugut takuman tissaammami qannoq inummaqalagii sivuliksaqattiarniarmangaan taman iqqaqsautigilugulu nunallaani qaitittiniarpugut katimayartoqtuning iqqaqsautigilugulu taman inummaqalagii qanuiliutsiaqayarmangaan nuunningalu tamanna qanoq tungavi qatsialeqniarmangaan tungavinga tamanna inummaqalagiiu kangiqsinarmiileqman tamannalu tutqissaqasuaqlugu katimaktualequpta taman uqausiqiniartavun qanoqlo inuvialugnu tamaunga ikayurniqalauqsimayuyaangimman inummaqalagii nunatsiali maamoqsimagaluaqsuni kanatali maamoqsigaluaqsuni tamanna piliqianga pimmaqiugaluaqsuni suu saqqilauqsimangimmangaat suuli tamannan qiiqtaalungullu maungalu ualinangmun qitiqmiunu saqqilualauqsimanga kivalliqmiinnaq taikani taimangaalu 1974 taimangaalu taikani kivalliqmi tuqquqsimayuyaarman suuqlu aallegaayu ataaniitto taimangan puijjuumequblu uyangijjuumequblu nunalignu tamaunga ajiingittunun isimaqaqsimagapta taman sivunikseaptini takvane qanittuuqoleqaluaqtavun ayoqnarniarivoq nalunangilaq kiinauyaq pijjutaavangman qanittuuallianiartuksauyuq isimayungali uvanga tamnaqsuruutigilugu pileqiaqinasuarniarivavun saqqipallianayarninga isimagaluartungali taimanga isimablunga maani qitiqmiuni pileqii qalaqoluarmiyugut sivullerming qablunaan pileqii qalaqapta taipsimatukimaaqtitsiulauqsimayup niqualauqsimangmagu uvanga angayoqqaanguluarlu niqualauqsimangitaqa tainna pileqiigilauqta qablunaa titiqqarning atausermigluuni saqqittilaungimman uqausileqinekmun pileqiniartaugaluarluni saqqittilaungimman uvanga piirumalilauqtaqa ti aperilauqtaqa nauq sanayatin ti kiinauyama suuqatoqsuti nauq sanayatin taimago kampiuti iluaniippun suuq saqqittoqalaungilang ilaago kampiuti nuqaayongmata nauq titeqqami takulaungillunga upperiunnanginaku piiqlutikisiani piiqnialaqtutin taimailiorlugu piiqluni inungmik kinguningagut sanayiqalilaarmigapta sanaaq tuugal mikiyugulungmigli sanayuugaluaq pileqinasuartuugaluuqausileqiniumiksaanun angivallaangimman maannaqataalu kiinauyequtilaorlutapingman naqugingitaqaluavun kiinauyortorpallaaleqmingman peeqiblugu noqqartinniblugu atauseqming uqausileqinermun sanayiqallaqittugut sanammaqillunilu qikiqtaalungmiutau naqartaavungma taipkua nunaptailanganiittugalu iglulingmiutarming imaquitsormik sanayiqartugut taamna sanammaqittoq Imanaluk tita kalolak tut ukausilang ng masanayangin tukisin na tiyak sa diglo ukausak ming ajing ito ukausin kisiyani isumayo nga suli wala ng milo kitang mew nilo kita katsiyang ni man tamani piliriya kakayahaktok wala ng mew nilo piliriya kang makayahaktok kitang mew nilo piyaking ni matatap ko tap ko ali kiwan lang milo kiyak talong milo piyak palyak alak tu alwan ukaw sila nagtaman na kinaksaya ko nek palyalak to ko ukalawak to taan na piliri butaman ito tama tuminga mani wala ng milo kitang mew nilo tayo man na itumik piyak to kakpan kubiya na kayak to ikayong nahang niyang mata nutakap siyang tabong nga ikayong nakatsiyang niyang mata na magkapuyok tayo lijutaw niyang mata tamadya inum makalayo piliraya maan na unip kakaswak pa ka asingid lugal wang makka piliraya sa amigay tsyung mata asingid lugal wang taman na pimmakayong man ubam nuli pimmakayong kutiyap ko tamadya unip kakpa ka
kaya nakpara kikputavrana ulim kolektor ng matiguduvani. Hibuan ka kolektor laudaktor na liyo, habal laudaktor ako na liyo. On our second segment tonight will be about botulism. Botulism is a food poisoning, and it can be fatal if you don't get help soon enough. We hope this video will give you necessary information so that you could prevent botulism in the future.
From the earliest times, one of man's strongest needs was food. Without it, there was not life. People would travel great distances, following the animals that provided them with food. Hunting and gathering were the ways people made sure they had enough to eat. When times were good, the people stored their extra food for use later. But sometimes when the people ate food that was stored, they would get sick. Some would die. In the old days, no one knew why. But today, we do know. These people died because of a poison called botulism. David Kasuk is a hunter and trapper from Inuvik. It wasn't too long ago at his Mackenzie camp when he had a scary experience with botulism.
Start getting sick, getting worse all the time. So, I lay down for a little while. Then I was getting more sick at night, towards nighttime. And I was getting too sick and I can't talk no more a little bit. About 9 o'clock at night, about 9:30 maybe, we start to town. Then we only got about halfway. I couldn't breathe no more. So I told Troy, go fast, go fast. So I just keep my mouth open like air go in. Then every time he stop and check me, and I tell him, you know, I can't breathe no more when he's stop on the big lakes over here, this side of Mackenzie. And I told Troy, go. You know, I can't breathe no more. So Troy start going. I tell him to go faster so that air could go in my mouth. Tell him to keep going fast, don't stop. And when I got to Fabi and Danny's, and when we stopped, after that I just black out. Couldn't get no more air. After that I wake up at hospital. They had that little bag like is pumping air into me.
David Kasuk almost died because he ate poisoned food. Because of improper storage, a food poisoning called botulism was able to grow in the food. The Senior Environmental Health Officer of the Inuvik Regional Health Board is Robert Kiley. He explains how this poison grows in food that is not stored properly.
Botulism is caused by a bacteria called Clostridium botulinum, which produces a toxin. The toxin produced is one of the most deadly toxins known to man. It's produced when spores, the best way to describe a spore is like a seed. When spores from Clostridium botulinum start to grow, the bacteria or the spores themselves aren't dangerous, it's the toxin they produce while they're growing. You'll find spores in the muck on the seabed, you'll find them in animals' intestines and stomach contents, you'll find spores in mud on the beach, you'll find spores practically everywhere. Botulism spores are universal.
How do you know if you've been poisoned by botulism? Dr. Earl Kirby of the Inuvik General Hospital explains.
The signs and symptoms of botulism are dependent on the absorption of the botulinum toxin by the patient. The toxin is ingested in the food that the person eats, and it goes into the gastrointestinal tract, is absorbed into the blood, and then it has its effects by preventing the transmission of nerve impulses from the nerves to the muscles, and this causes a type of paralysis. This paralysis begins initially in the eyes, the muscles of the eyes, and also the muscles of the mouth, and eventually it can affect the muscles of the arms and legs, and especially the muscles of respiration, and this has the effect of causing the person to not be able to breathe.
Medical care is the only treatment that will stop the toxin from causing advanced symptoms in the patient. It's important to understand that home remedies will not cure this type of food poisoning.
If someone suspects they have botulinum poisoning, the most important thing that they can do is get to the nursing station or the hospital as quickly as they can, because the most important factor in treating this disease is to get the antitoxin into the patient as rapidly as possible before the poison has a chance to affect the person's nerves and muscles.
Much of the food in the north is still prepared traditionally, on the land. But the botulism spores also exist everywhere. So how can traditional food be prepared and stored so this poison does not grow?
There are two major preventive measures for preventing botulism. If either one is done correctly, botulism spores can't grow and can't produce the toxin. The first and most important tends to be temperature control. If the product is stored at 3 degrees Celsius or lower, 37 degrees Fahrenheit or lower, botulism spores can't grow and can't produce the toxin. The second preventative measure is not allowing an anaerobic environment. In other words, allowing air into the product. This can be accomplished in a number of ways. First of all, don't store your sea mammal products in green garbage bags. Don't store them in sealed plastic containers where air can't get at them. If a product is stored in oil, stir it frequently. Remember, the spores themselves aren't harmful, but it's the toxins they produce.
In earlier times, elders taught the people how to store and handle their food properly. This was before metal and plastic containers were used. Inuvik elder Billy Day tells us more.
Many years ago, food was stored, like I said, some of it, some people just dug down to the permafrost and left meat and muktak, whatever fish, on the permafrost where it stayed cool. Some people dug holes way down into the permafrost where meats and things like that, fresh meat, would stay frozen. And for traveling many years ago, for containers, they used whale stomachs. They would take the whale stomach out and clean it. And on a large whale, the stomach is quite big, and they would use the stomach to put muktak, sometimes the raw muktak. They would put dry fish, dry meat and stuff into it, and then they would fill this up with oil to preserve it. And these things they used, these kinds of containers they used for when they were going to travel.
When traditional foods are prepared for storage, it's very important to understand what botulism is and how to prevent it. It's a deadly poison that grows in food not stored properly. These are some of the kinds of foods botulism comes from. Home canned meats and vegetables, vacuum-packed smoked or barbecued fish, whale, seal, or walrus stored in oil or airtight containers, and fermented fish eggs. To stop this poison from growing in canned meat and vegetables, pressure cook them for about 20 minutes at 121 degrees Celsius. Keep vacuum-packed fish frozen. Open the package when you start to thaw it. Store whale, seal, and walrus in a very cool place. The temperature should never be warmer than 3 degrees Celsius. Put it in a bowl or bucket with a clean cloth on top. This will allow air to get in. If you put these meats into oil, stir it a lot and keep it at cool temperatures. You can't tell if the food has botulism. You can't see it, taste it, or smell it. If you eat food that has botulism, you'll likely get sick in about a day. Your mouth and throat will ache. You'll feel weak and dizzy. Breathing will be difficult. And if you don't get medical treatment, you will stop breathing. The first thing to do is to see a nurse or doctor right away. The antitoxin is the only known cure for botulism poisoning. If you remember a few important things, you can save yourself and your family from getting botulism. Let's see what you remember. Botulism is a poison from food not stored properly. True or false? True. Botulism toxin will form if the storage temperature is above 3 degrees Celsius and the botulism spores are present. Botulism can stop you from breathing. True or false? True. The advanced stages of botulism poisoning will cause you to have a hard time breathing and will eventually cause your lungs to stop working. Botulism poisoning comes from caribou meat. True or false? False. Caribou meat will not cause botulism unless you dip it in sea mammal oil that has the botulism toxin present. Botulism poisoning comes from muktuk or seal stored in plastic bags or airtight plastic containers. True or false? True. Placing your muktuk or seal meat in airtight buckets or plastic bowls can cause botulism under the right circumstances. If you think you have botulism poisoning, you should tell a nurse or doctor right away. True or false? True. The only cure for botulism is an antitoxin. It has to be given to you by medical personnel. You can tell if food has botulism by looking at it, tasting it, or smelling it. True or false? False. Botulism will not make food look different, taste different, or smell different. That's why it's so important to prepare and store your food properly. Botulism can be cured. True or false? True. Botulism can only be cured with the antitoxin, but in some cases, if the treatment comes too late, it can cause death. It's important to keep stored food very cool and to let air get at it. True or false? True. Properly preparing and storing your food is the only way to prevent botulism poisoning from forming in your food. Those are the facts about botulism. But as elders Charlie and Persis Gruben tell us, attitude is also important.
Ingilagalo inuit ikit pailuting munagabluin nakiksatik tukbamait pangnigain matokluit kang masit suna pekalo yan nakip suna pekalo kilaluak tayo may lani swin nalip kaklo ingilaan right tayo batikyo dito amadjok sabak pangnigat kilaluak matokluit.
It's hoped that the insight and knowledge of the elders, in partnership with health professionals, will result in sound information regarding the prevention and handling of foods associated with botulism. Eating traditional foods is important, both culturally and nutritionally. To enjoy these foods to their fullest, proper preparation and storage is a must. The hard lessons, knowledge, and experience of our elders, from long ago to present day, should always be remembered and used. The techniques and principles used before the invention of plastic pails and bags still hold true and are very effective in the prevention of botulism. Looking to our elders for knowledge on how best to prepare and store foods is still very important. It's no coincidence that medical information of modern day reflects these same techniques and principles. The only difference is how they're presented, one being traditional and practical, the other technical and scientific. Remember, use this information wisely. You are the elders of the future.